Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about one of the important equipment used in medical field, namely as pacemakers. We already known well pacemakers are the electronic devices that can be used to initiate the heartbeat when the heart's intrinsic electrical system cannot effectively generate a rate adequate to support the cardiac output. So a battery in the pacemaker sends pulses of electricity through wires to the heart to stimulate the consistent heartbeat. Pacemakers may be temporary or permanent with respect to the condition of the patient. A doctor must implant a pacemaker directly into the chest, but a temporary device is worn externally. By 1932, Albert Heinmann started the concept of artificial pacemakers and magnetogenerators to power up the electrodes by means the cardiac activity may be improved. By following that, in 1950s, John Hobbs found out the first transcutaneous pacemakers using of vacuum tube technology with direct AC power supply. It's an external pacemaker. And then in 1958, Earl Beckman discovered first wearable transistorized pacemaker, and by following that in 1958 again in 8th October, Dr. X. Inning and Ron Elmist found the first implantable pacemaker. So in 1959, Chadwick and Wilson great batch given with the first successful long-term implantable pacemakers. By following that, in 1970s, introduction of lithium iodide battery technology came to the picture. So and then by 1980 onwards, introduction of rate response pacing is started off, and then now we are working with wireless leadless pacemakers in the current field now. So you just see the picture. His name is Arne Larsen. He is the first man who received an implantable pacemaker in the year of 1958. But it's unfortunate, the first time it was broken, and then by continual effort of 26 devices, he lived till 2001. So he lived with a pacemaker for more than 43 years. When we need a pacemaker, so we have certain issues like bradycardia, a condition in which the heart beats too slow. We already known well, for a common man, we have a heartbeat in the range of 60 to 80 beats per minute. If it is less than 60 beats per minute, it is bradycardia. Whereas we have next option tachycardia. So it's a condition in which the heartbeat is more fast or more than 80 beats per minute. Sometimes it may be due to atrial fibrillation. So the upper chambers of the heartbeat rapidly functioning. Whereas we have the next option heart failures. It's a very common issue. It's about stroke or heart attack, a condition in which the heartbeat is not sufficient to supply normal volume of blood. So on these cases we require an additional electrical supplementary system to stimulate the about arterial function. So a pacemaker system consists of two major parts. One is regarding pulse generator combined with power source. So the next one is pacing leads or wires. So a pacemaker must be compatible with pulse generators which producing of electrical signals. We already known well it's mostly implantable type what we are using now. So because of that implantation, we should not power supply. So a pulse generator must be accomplished with a power source. Whereas leading wires, as about pace wires, are to be connected from the pulse generator to produce electricity to the cardiac activity. So you just see the basic diagram of circuit diagram of a pacemaker on the downside. So it have only three parts. One is a power source, the second is pulse generator part, and third one is electrodes. This is a very simple circuit analysis of pacemaker. When we are going with the case of what is a pulse generator, it contains a battery that provides energy for sending electrical impulses to the heart. It houses the circuitry that controls pacemaker operations. So the pulse generator is designed to generate an electrical current that travels through the pacing leads and exists through electrodes that is in direct contact with the heart. This electrical current initiates the myocardial depolarization. So the power source for a temporary external pulse generator is standard of about 9 volt alkaline battery is inserted into the generator. It is a common external pacemaker what we are used. The second important requirement is a phasing lead, or say about phasing lead system. We have two options regarding the usage of number of lead wires what we are used. One is you said is unipolar phasing system. So a unipolar phase system has only one electrode, by means the negative electrode making contact directly with the heart valves, whereas the echocardial system has a positive can be taken or formed by the piece of a surgical steel wire swung into the subcutaneous tissues of the chest. So while you are applying with both positive and negative, you are getting applying of potential energy to the or electrical impulse to the heart beat system for myocardial activities. If you go with the second option, bipolar phasing system, which have two electrodes named as positive and negative are located into the heart. So the bipolar lead used in the transvenous phasing has two electrodes on one catheter. So the distal or negative electrode is at the top of the phasing lead and is in direct contact with the heart, usually inside the right atrium or ventricle. The negative electrode is attached to the negative terminal and the positive electrode is attached to the positive terminal of the pulse generator either directly or via bridge cabling. An epicardial lead system is often used for temporary phasing after cardiac surgery. The bipolar epicardial lead system has two separate insulated wires that are loosely secured with structures to the cardiac chambers to be placed. Both electrodes are in contact with myocardial tissues, so either wire may be in use as negative or ground electrode. So this is regarding bipolar phasing system. Just seen the concept of an implantable pacemaker system is about IPG. It's a metal can be made up of titanium containing electronics, battery and an electrode or lead connector head. So the leads are made up of it's useful to make electrical connection between the pacemaker and the heart. This is a very simple diagram of an implantable pacemaker system. If you want to say about the circuit, it's known well the stimulation of cardiac tissues using electrical pulses are done through IPG, implantable phase generator, which is connected with the leads. So this is a very simple completion of circuit through lead or by body tissues. If you ask you what about the types of pacemakers we are having? So pacemakers are broadly classified into two classes. One is regarding how much number of leads are used in the pacemaker, or otherwise how it is programmed to work, or what about the work function of the pacemaker. So regarding the number of leads, we have three options. One is single chamber pacemaker or double chamber or biventricular pacemakers. So in a single chamber pacemaker, we have only one electrode. It may be placed on either right atrium or right ventricle of the heart. If you go with the dual chamber pacemakers, it uses two electrodes. One is on the upper chamber and one is on the lower chamber of the heart is to be kept. So two electrodes are used. That is called dual chamber pacemaker. If you go with biventricular pacemaker, we have three leads. First into right atrium and second electrode on the right ventricle. Because it is biventricular, so both right and left side of the ventricle are filled with two leads and one more leads on right atrium. So if you are giving connection like this, then it is called as biventricular pacemaker. Reason is regarding how much number of leads are used for phasing and sensing of the heart activity. Whereas if you want to define with the types of pacemakers regarding the program, we have three options. The first one is a fixed rate pacemaker. It's a device which produces phase pulses or stimulation pulses at a steady state regardless of the heart's own electrical activity. If we go with the second option, pacemaker on demand, this pacemaker monitors the heart rhythm and generates electrical pulses only if the heartbeat is too slow or if it misses a beat. So this pacemaker is useful if the heart is working in a slower manner. But as of now, we have started using a rate responsive pacemaker because this pacemaker speeds up or slows down the heart rate depending on how active is the person. So this is the one what we are required now and what we are using for day-to-day life. So you just see the importance of single chamber and double chamber system. So in a single chamber, the phasing lead is implanted in the atrium or a ventricle depending on the chamber to be phased and sensed. Whereas if you are going with the case of double chamber, one lead is implanted on atrium and one is on ventricle. So by use both of these have both advantage and drawbacks is already shown here. While comparing with single chamber system, double chamber system have very good benefits, and then we are mostly using double chamber system or otherwise biventricular system for the practical applications. And what is the real work function of a pacemaker? So we have four conditions. The first one is a pacemaker should stimulate cardiac depolarization. If there is an issue on working of heart, then you say about heart activities get increased or decreased, that to be verified or to be sensed by the pacemaker. So there is a second option, sensing of intrinsic cardiac function. And the third one is responding to increased metabolic demand by providing rate of responsive phasing. So these are the three most important functions of pacemaker, whereas the additional one is the most important because that pacemaker start analyzing the heartbeat. So it started working as an ECG. So it provides diagnostic information stored by the pacemaker. So these are the functions of a pacemaker. And the concept of what is called capture in the pacemaker function is, it's nothing but for depolarization of arterial or ventricles in response to a phasing stimulus. So the process of how the electric signals are imposed by the heart and how it is active with respect to the application of stimulus. So that is called capture area. Whereas what is called ability, so ability is nothing but the ability of device is nothing to detect intrinsic cardiac activity. If you are saying about system is under sensing, means it's failure to sense the cardiac activity. Whereas if it is over sensing, means it is too sensitive to activity of cardiac activity. And regarding the electrical stimulation of cardiac tissues, we already known well that cardiac activity must be properly supported by a pacemaker for a normal function of the heart. So an artificial electrical stimulus excites cardiac tissues by the creation of an electrical field at the interface of the stimulating electrodes and the myochondria. So the electrical field should be strong enough and should last long enough to initiate action potentials in the cells at the electrodes and tissue interfaces. So we need a minimum voltage per centimeter to trigger a self-propagating wave of depolarization. Likewise, we require a minimum current per centimeter square to trigger the self-propagating wave for depolarization of heart activity. Likewise, we say the word stimulation threshold is a function of either voltage per centimeter regarding the electric field or current per centimeter square regarding the current density, which is useful to induce the myochondrium beneath the stimulating electrode. So these two theories are related with Ohm's law only. So that's why we are having a concept of impedance on pacemaker. So you just notice the pacemaker stimulus. We are in need of an amplitude of at least 5 volts and we are working with a pulse width of at least 0.5 milliseconds, and the phasing rate should be of 1 stimulus per second, otherwise 60 stimuli means 60 beats per minute is a common pacemaker stimulus what we are using for the purpose of cardiac activity, improving the cardiac activity. So regarding the phasing pulse, we are saying the word, the pulse amplitude will be written as in the word V, voltage. T represents the pulse duration or width in milliseconds, and R represents impedance of phasing circuits. And we already known well all these three terms are related to Ohm's law, so I will be equal to V by R. So it represents what about the current passing through the circuit. And then regarding the energy supplied to the system, we say the word VI into T, or I say about I square R T. By using of this one, we can find out what about the total amount of energy supplied to the system. It will be around, suppose we are saying of the word we are using of 2.5 volt and 5 milliamps of current with 0.5 milliseconds of time period of signal, we got a maximum input of 6.25 microjoules of energy is supplied to the cardiac activity. So this one is regarding the pacing pulse what we are worked with analyzing of cardiac activity. And if we already told the word stimulation threshold, it's a minimum electrical stimulus needed to consistently capture the heart outside the heart's refractory period. You just notice the diagram, we have a word capture. So capture represents with respect to the stimulus, the heart functions start working well, or the heart start observing or start sensing of the input signal. So that is called the capture area. Whereas if the cardiac activity is not initiated by the stimulus, then it is called the non-capture area. And regarding settings used for ensure capture area will be amplitude and pulse width. We all discussed about the amplitude reflects the strength or height of the impulse, whereas pulse width is represented in milliseconds. So the pulse width is just the length of the time each phasing pulse is delivered. With respect to these two conditions, we can maintain or we can ensure the concept of capture or the stimulus activity of the cardiac function. So if you go with the general case of pacemaker settings, what three important words you have to be very careful on our work function of a pacemaker. The first one is the rate. Rate represents, which regulates the number of impulses that can be delivered to the heart per minute. So basically we know well for a normal people it will be 60 to 80 beats per minute. So if a pacemaker is operating in a dual chamber mode, the ventricular control rate also to be regulated at arterial rate. So the second option is the output. So it is the amount of electrical current, it is in milliamps normally, which is delivered to the heart to initiate depolarization. The point at which depolarization occurs in terms is named as threshold and is indicated by a myocardial response to the phasing stimulus. That word it is capture. And the third important setting is sensitivity. So the sensitivity control regulates the ability of the pacemaker to the heart's intrinsic electrical activity. Sensitivity is measured in terms of millivolts and determines the size of intracardiac signal that generator recognizes. If we start working with the type of operating modes of pacemakers, so it is coded with certain words. So the method of classifying pacemaker function is originated by the year of 1987 and by the North American Society of Phasing and Electrophysiology and British Phasing and Electrophysiology group. So by this type of representation, they are following with 4 codes with 4 letters, or the codes given with 4 letters. The first letter indicates a chamber which one is supplied with the energy or stimulus, that is called phased. If this A represents atrium, V represents ventricle, or D represents both. The second letter of the operating mode mentions the chamber which one is to be sensed. In the case again we have options A, V, D, and the next option is O. A for atrium, V for ventricle, D for both dual, are both atrium and ventricle, whereas the final option additional, it is say O for none. So none of the chambers are to be sensed or verified for cardiac activity. The third letter refers to the response to be sensed electrical signals and indicates whether a phase is inhibited or triggered. So inhibition represents a phase is done when there is an intrinsic beat sensed in the chamber and a new timing cycle starts. In triggered mode, stimulus is emitted in one chamber in response to a sensory event in the other chamber. The used codes are I for inhibition of phase in the sensory chambers and T for triggering. Whereas we have the next option D. D for both inhibition and trigger, whereas O stands for none. The fourth letter represents rate of modulation. It can be R for rate of modulation and O for no rate modulation. So these are the codes what they given regarding work function or operating modes of a pacemaker. So again I am repeating of how to explain the operating modes. You just see the first chamber or the first letter. The first position of the code indicates cardiac chamber which one is supplied with stimulus, that's called phased. I already told you that we have option A, V, D. A for atrium, V for ventricle and D for both dual. We say about both atrium and ventricle are applied with the electrical signals. The second second position represents the cardiac chamber which is to be sensed. So the third is regarding either we are working with the function of pacemaker, the pacemaker is going with inhibition. Inhibition means you are reducing the efficiency of the heart by means it start decreasing the heartbeat because it is working with the fast. Otherwise triggering. Triggering represents the heart is working with a slow response, so you have to trigger it. So these are the two major responses what a pacemaker have to do with the cardiac activity. So these are the modes what is representing. The fourth letter is representing with rate of modulation. Actually it is given with the term R. So it represents a rate of modulation. Rate of modulation is the ability of the pacemaker to adjust the timing events according to the signals from the sensor. The fifth letter actually it is an additional option. It represents the code is a site of multi-site phasing. We are applying with the multi-site phasing or not. So these are the pacemaker operating modes representation. So now we are going to discuss about certain examples of operating modes. We just go with the table given on the downside. The first mode you say it is AAI within bracket R. So you say first letter A represents we are given with a stimulus only on atrium side or say about atrium chamber, and second A represents even we are applying of electrical stimulus atrium means the same case we are sensing it only in atrium again, and the third one is I represents inhibition, so the process of reducing the work function of the heart. So AAI refers only one single lead by means it is very simple, because in this case we are applying the stimulus only to the atrium itself. The same case we are sensing from the atrium itself, and it is of inhibition, reducing the work function of heart. So it is a simplest and efficient way. So the drawback is slow ventricular rates may develop if AV blocks mechanism atrium ventricular blocks occurs. So if you are using of AAI mode, where is the clinical use? If there is an issue of sinus mode, disinfection of without an AV node, disinfection of heart, we can work with AAI mode. R represents rate modulation. So the next one is VVI. As like AAI, we have the next operating mode, it is VVI. So here we are working with the stimulus is applied to the ventricle. Likewise, the stimulus response is analyzed or sensed in the ventricle itself, and then it is of inhibition mode. So here also it requires only one single lead. So it is a simple efficient technique for analyzing of the heart activity. The drawback is during phasing, atrioventricular synchrony is not preserved. So if there is an AV block in the patient with atrial fibrillation, we can use this type of mode of operation of pacemakers. Now you can see some other examples of operating modes of a pacemaker. So we have very famous VDD mode with the rate modulation. So V represents ventricular phasing, by means of we are supplying stimulus to the ventricle, and then both atrium and ventricles are to be sensed, that represents D, and then the third D represents the pacemaker have a chance, even you go for inhibition, reducing the activity of cardiac activity, otherwise it may trigger the cardiac activity. So you have dual operation, it may do both inhibition and triggering of cardiac activity. And then we have the next option, R represents rate modulation. So it sends and go for rate modulation by its own. So this is called as VDD method. So it is have advantage of AV synchrony, by means of atrium ventricular synchrony is maintained for patients with the AV node disease. It's have only specifically designed lead can be used. The drawback is the synchrony is lost if the patient develops sinus bradycardia. So the clinical use is bradycardia caused by AV node disease may be cured by using of this type of pacemaker. Likewise, the next option is DDI, and then R represents our rate of modulation. So D represents both atrial and ventricles have a chance to get stimuli, and then the next option is again both atrial and ventricles have a chance to be sensed, and then I represents go for inhibition. So both atrial and atrium and ventricles are to be supported with the stimulus and the sensed with the response of cardiac activity for the inhibition mode. So in this case, AV synchrony is maintained during the atrial phasing, whereas if we are going with the drawback, the same case, the AV synchrony is not maintained during atrial sensing. So people with certain issues like bradycardia and Indian sensing atrial arrhythmias can be used or can be verified by using of this type of, or be cured with this type of pacemakers. If you are saying about what are the benefits of pacemakers, so pacemakers stimulate the heart to speed up when it beats slowly. They can also substitute for the natural pacemaker of the heart, SA node, or the heart tissues that regulate the beating of the ventricles, that is called AV node. So pacemakers allow people to return to normal active lives. Most people have very few limitations if any. By regulating the heart's rhythm, a pacemaker can often eliminate the symptoms of bradycardia. So this means individuals often have more energy and less shortness of breath. However, a pacemaker is not a cure. It will not prevent or stop heart disease, nor will it prevent heart attacks. So these are the benefits of pacemakers. And regarding risks of pacemakers, during the procedure of implanting the pacemaker, we have issues that a lung could collapse. It's because of an air builds up in between the space between the lung and the chest wall. So this called as pneumothorax can be treated and people can recover well. So this problem may be happen 1 to 5 people out of 100. So if you say about serious problem during the procedure is very rare. So these problems include heart attack, stroke, or need of an emergency surgery. So they might happen one time out of 1,000 people. So post surgery, or say about after the procedure of implanting, problems may be like very minor, sometimes mild pain, or serious like an infection. So most people do not have a long-term issues with their pacemakers. So problems may include with pain, bleeding and bruising soon after the procedure, blood clots in the arm which can cause lot of swelling. So infection in chest near the pacemaker, the infection might happen about 1 out of 100 people, so which means that the 99 times out of 100 there is no infection. So these are the problems in implanting pacemakers. So you see the advantages and drawbacks. Regarding the advantages, mimic natural action is happening out because the pacemaker uses electrical impulse to stimulate faster rate when the natural system of heart falling to regulate heartbeat pacing, and we are trying to improve heart efficiency. So for biventricular pacemaker, it works to ensure the ventricle and atria to work together and improve the heart pumping efficiency. And atria fibrillation, which is used to rectify the causes the heart ventricle to fire instead than beat in normal rhythm. And by importance of heart failure, so by using a pacemaker, the heart failure can be prevented by coordinate electrical signals between ventricles of the field. Whereas the drawbacks is first issue is the procedure risk. So pacemakers implantation may reveal patients to surgical sites infection. Apart from that, they get allergic or anesthesia and also become swollen or bruising. Lifestyle adjustments. So the pacemaker users have to be careful with the electrical appliances such as cell phone, micro oven, and also have high tension wires. Their lifestyle need to be changed in order for their safety. Not only routines that need to be taken into account, but they must also be wary of medical equipment such as MRI with very high magnetic fields and shockwave lithotherapy to get rid of kidney stones. So all this can disturb the electrical signaling of the pacemakers and stop it from functioning and can cause failure. So these are the real drawbacks of using of pacemakers. So you just see the diagram of an implantable pacemaker, and early it used to be around 5 cm of size, but now it is in millimeter scale. So on earlier stage of transistor type implantable pacemaker is shown here, using a pulse amplitude of 10 milliamps and rate of 60 beats per minute and current of 12 microamps, and 10 mercury zinc cells were utilized for power source. And you just notice, and earlier it is of continuous operation of 5 years of are expected for like this type of implantable pacemakers. But on recent advancement, you can notice that an MRI compatible pacemakers called as Revo MRI shoe scan is possible with to take MRI even for people who is implanted with pacemakers. Likewise, upgraded in rate responsive mode is improved, and leadless pacemakers are came to the market. So they say it is nano stem, 10 times smaller than the conventional pacemakers, which can be repositioned easily. And quality of the life for a patient is significantly improved due to the no restriction of activities. So these are the recent advancements in pacemaker technology. You just see the evaluation of pacemaker technology. By 1958, the weight of the pacemaker is around 74 grams and size of 35 cubic centimeter. By 1881, its pure implantable came with the disabled titanium alloy plane. The weight will be around 55 grams and 25 centimeter cube. By 1995, again the weight is decreased to around 14 grams and 6 cubic centimeter. So by 2009, the weight of the pacemaker is to be around 23 grams, whereas size is 12.8 for the improvement of lifespan of the pacemaker. But by 2030, we are reached with the case of 2 grams of pacemaker, which is a wireless leadless pacemaker, which is incorporated into the heart. It will start working and long lasting. The total size of the pacemaker is around 1 cubic centimeter. You just notice the design of leadless pacemaker, how it is look like. So a docking button on the front, and then battery at the middle, and then the circuit which producing of electrical impulses at the end, and finally the fixation circuit at the dead end of with the helix, which is connected with the power source. I think you understand this topic well. We can meet you with next topic soon. Thank you.